Welcome to Easy Eats. My name is Chef Yves Dechaine, and today we're in the Greener Villages Learning Kitchen with John Iliakis from Street Greek. Welcome, John.
Thank you for having me, Yves.
So you guys are known for your donaires and stuff, but we're going to make something a little bit different today. So what are we making with you today?
We're going to make spanakopita.
Spanakopita. It's a great little appetizer. I know that we get them frozen and stuff like that all the time, but this is great. So before we get into that, let's talk about Street Greek a little bit. So what made you guys start this?
In 2019, we took over Street Greek from my cousin.
Okay.
She had a little hut at the Northside Market. I don't know if you remember the Northside Market.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we took it over in 2019 from her. During COVID, the Northside Market closed down. We then went to delivering our food in little kits to our customers at their homes on the weekends. And then a couple months went by. We went to the exhibition grounds, and then we evolved into our restaurant at Two Nations Crossing.
Right on. And you have more than just the restaurant Two Nations. You've got the food truck that kind of travels the city, right?
Yes. So the food truck, we do that in the summer times, spring to kind of November-ish, right? We put it away in the winter. And we do weddings, we do festivals, we do the Garrison Night Market. We also do the Natural Rock Music Fest most years, and we do the Harvest Jazz and Blues.
Right on, and people can hire you out to do a private. So if we wanted Street Greek, say at somebody's wedding or bar mitzvah or anything like that, you do something like that, would you?
We do weddings mostly every weekend. We're booked in the summer. We also do some corporate events during the week. We'll go to businesses and set up and feed the employees, and
Right on. Now, John, is this something that you've been doing forever? Is this what you went to school for? I like to ask people who start these food trucks and things like that, did you go to school to become a cook?
No, I just learned that. So years ago, let's back up till I was 12. When I was 12, started cooking with my uncle. He owned Panos. Most people will probably remember Panos.
Okay.
Worked with him for 12 years, and then got out of cooking and was selling cars for 21 years.
Wow.
And then got back into cooking. It's always been something I wanted to do. And I always knew that I would own a restaurant, just in what capacity, had no idea. And here we are.
Right on. So let's talk about that. As a small business owner, how hard is it to kind of burst into that scene? Like, I mean, you've got a good product and a good demand, but again, we were kind of chatting earlier, there are other places that do something similar. So what makes Street Greek different than, say, the other restaurants that are serving something similar?
Really, it comes down to quality, right? Quality of food. Most of our food that we make is all in-house.
Okay.
Very, very little bit of our food is frozen, right? So a lot of it is fresh. As we're going to make today, the spanakopita, we don't buy it frozen. We actually make it in-house. Our tzatziki is in-house. All of our rices, our potatoes, our salad dressings, right? So everything's fresh.
So we're making spanakopita.
Yes.
Now, pronunciation, because when we first got here, and I mean, I've been corrected so many times, it is pronounced spanakopita, not spanakopita, right?
Correct.
All right. So as we're going, let's talk about it a little bit. What is it exactly?
So basically, it's spinach pie, kind of.
Okay.
Right? You could say. We use filo dough. There's many different ways to make it. You can make it in a Pyrex pan or dish.
Yeah.
Lay the filo dough out, and you cut it and serve it in squares.
Kind of like a casserole.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay.
Or like a spinach pie type thing. For aesthetics purposes and the way it looks, it doesn't look that great appetizing when you make it like that. So for us, we make it different. We make it in triangles. So it's individual, it's all wrapped up nice, it just looks better, I think.
And I think that's the way that it's most commonly presented. I know that I've seen it a lot, and I've made spanakopita again, and it's just, I've made it a few times, and that's the way it's done. I guess the other way in a pie or whatever is more family style.
Yes.
So it's when you're
100%.
gathering with family and
Yes.
no one's, that's great. So Street Greek. Definitely, your last name is a telltale that you are of Greek descent. So are all these recipes handed down or from your parents?
Somewhat. Yeah, some of them are learned, but most of them, like the tzatziki recipe, is, I would say, quote unquote, a family recipe.
Okay.
I've tweaked it a little bit over the time, but yeah.
So, John, I know your father's from Greece. What part of Greece? And you can tell me, and have you had a chance to visit?
Yeah, my father's from the island of Crete.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a small little island not too far from Athens. I have visited, but many moons ago, and like to get back at some point.
Do you still have family?
Oh yes, yeah. I have some aunts, several cousins. Yeah, my grandparents are passed on, but I have lots of family there. And my mother, she's from New Brunswick. So my father came here in 1972, I do believe, and to visit, because we had family in Montreal. We have several family members in Montreal as well. Then he came to Fredericton to visit some other cousins and never left.
You guys are known for your donaires.
Yes.
Now, the big question everyone's asking is, what's the difference between a donaire and a gyro?
Basically just the word, right? Donaire is more east coast,
Okay.
right? And gyro is more what they would call it like if you went to Greece and you asked for a donaire, they would have no idea what you're talking about. So you'd have to say gyro, right? But it's basically the same thing. It's donaire meat, it's pita bread, it's the vegetables, right? So
Is it the sauce difference too, or can you have, say, a garlic sauce or a donaire sauce in your gyro, or is it has to be tzatziki?
in Greece, there's no donaire sauce.
Gotcha.
Just tzatziki. So you're getting it either with tzatziki or with no sauce. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, that's what attracted me to Street Greek to begin with. Was I'm a big fan of tzatziki sauce. So when I noticed that you guys were one of the only spots making donaires with tzatziki, I knew that I had to give you guys a try. And
Right
then, I
on.
mean, you've been my exclusive donaire provider ever since.
Perfect.
So that's fantastic.
We appreciate that.
So John will show us how to make spanakopita after these few messages. Welcome back to Easy Eats. Again, we're in the Greener Villages Learning Kitchen with John Iliakis from Street Greek. So John, let's start making some spanakopita.
Excellent.
How do we start, and how do we go about it?
Perfect. So we have everything over here. I have it all taken care of, I guess. you will say.
Pre-portioned? No, that's
pre-portioned. Thank
yeah.
you. So I'll take the feta first.
So that's about what, a pound of feta or so?
That's a little over a pound.
Okay.
A pound, so about 19 ounces.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's going to go in here. If I spill a little bit, sorry to make your mess in your kitchen.
No, that's okay. My grandmother used to call that the angel's share. Anything that didn't make it in the bowl or anything that was left in the bottom of the bowl.
Nice. I'm going to take the ricotta and a spoon if I could.
And the spoon, absolutely.
Should have had a spoon out, I guess.
That's okay. We can make that happen. It's just right here for me.
Beautiful. And basically, we're going to put this whole container of ricotta in here.
Now I've seen it made before, but I've never seen ricotta. I saw it only with feta. So is this your little tweak on the recipe, or is this traditional?
No, it's well, I wouldn't say it's not traditional, and I wouldn't say it is. My parents never made it with ricotta, but I like the way it tastes.
Okay.
So,
So
yeah,
it's the Street Greek tweak.
it's the Street Greek tweak, I guess
Perfect.
you could say. I'll take the green
The
onions,
green onions, okay.
and basically we're going to put. I have a little more than I'm going to use here, but basically probably about a cup is what you'd put in.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably right there.
Now, could you
And sorry, I
substitute
don't-
this with any other onion, or is green onion kind of the onion of choice for these?
For taste, you'd want the green onion.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't white or red. I think would be
A little too a little too
definitely.
powerful?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll take the
Your spice mix?
spices. Yeah.
Sure.
So there's pepper and dill weed in here.
Okay.
Yep. The dill weed is really good. And I'll take the olive oil.
Absolutely.
And then all we do, Eve, is we just give that a little mix. Just like that. And then we're going to add our spinach. So basically I have a pound of spinach here, 16 ounces.
Okay.
And I just rough chop it. Now this is baby spinach, so I didn't need to cut it very much. if you get the bigger leaves of spinach, right, you're going to want to give it a good rough chop, nothing too fine, but you want to probably have them like kind of looking a little bit like that.
Okay, so
right?
bite size, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And again, because I guess if you're taking a bite and you're pulling away, you don't want a big long string of spinach following your bite.
Exactly. And the way we're doing it in the triangles with the smaller spinach, it makes it easier to portion.
Okay.
Right. So we're just going to add that into here.
So when do we start adding the eggs, John?
Once everything's mixed up, we're going to add the eggs in, but we don't add the eggs until all the mixture is mixed up nice. A lot of recipes I've seen that don't use eggs, but I just found it makes everything more easy to work with. Keeps it together, right? Especially when you're rolling in the phyllo. The phyllo is not really that big, so you want to make sure that you don't have stuff falling all over the place, right?
Okay, no, that's great. So when you do this at the restaurant, or you do have spanakopita at the restaurant, do you?
Oh yes, yeah, we sell a lot of it. I'll take the eggs actually right now.
Absolutely, there you go.
And just like that, we don't beat them or mix them first. We just throw them in and mix them together.
And again, for anyone who's worried about that, this is all going to be cooked in the oven, so we don't have to worry about raw egg or anything like that. Okay.
Nope.
And just adding those 3 eggs, it
you
really got the mix softer. And
yes, yeah. As you can see, it's not the leaves, the spinach not falling all over the place.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It brings everything together. And that's it right there, Yves. This recipe that we use here, I think, is top notch.
There is recipe cultivation. There is
yes.
recipe tasting going on. So how often or how many times do you play with something before it hits the counter?
It depends. It can be as little as 1 or 2 times, or it can be 10 to 15, 20 times.
So as soon as it's right? I guess.
Yeah, if it's not right, we just keep trying.
Are you trying to make your donair a little bit different?
Yeah, when it comes to especially our donair, we're not tweaking that at all. We're going to keep it the way it is. All of our recipes at the restaurant are the way we want them.
Perfect.
So we won't tweak anything there.
Mix is ready. We're ready to stuff that, aren't we?
We're pretty close to ready to stuff. So what we got to do is, the next thing is you're going to want to have a scale.
Okay.
I like the digital scale better than the other kind. I think you get an more accurate reading.
All right. So when I turn this on, what are we looking for? Grams, ounces?
Ounces. So basically, what we're going to do is we take a spoon. If you had a ice cream scoop, that works too. I don't use an ice cream scoop, but I use the spoon. But some people might want to use an ice cream scoop, right? So basically what you're looking for is about 2.2 ounces.
So you're making it pretty healthy.
Yeah, they're pretty big. A lot of times they, in the oven, the phyllo will split a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
And some of it will ooze out. Some people say that doesn't look good, but I think that it makes it look homemade. Right?
Well, absolutely, yeah.
It doesn't look like something that was manufactured. So basically, you're just going to make little balls, just like so.
So, John, we're only making 6 today, and you got a big batch here. What's the yield for this recipe?
This yield will do 25 triangles.
Well, it's perfect for a get-together or a party, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the triangles are in our mind, they're quite big. They're almost a meal in themselves. So really, if you were making it for a gathering, you could, once you made them and cooked them, you could cut it in half.
Okay.
And it would be perfect for an appetizer, so you get 50.
Oh, well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So definitely enough for a good get-together.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So there.
Now it's time to wrap them. So there's a special way to wrap or to work with phyllo. Let's talk about the phyllo a little bit. It's a really delicate dough.
It is.
So how do we work with it without it cracking and crumbling? Because it dries out really, really quick.
Biggest thing, if you're going to work with the phyllo, take it out the day before and put it in the fridge. Let it thaw in the fridge, not out. If it thaws too quick, it gets gummy.
And sweats, doesn't it?
And sweats, right? So you want to take it out, put it in the fridge, let it thaw slowly, right? And then after that, you're going to take it out of the package, and you want to work quite quickly. So you already knew what you were doing. You damped a dish towel for me. You don't want to make it too wet, but you want to make it damp enough that it'll keep the phyllo from drying out. So basically, you're going to want to, in the cooking world, we don't use tape measures very often, but we do for this. So you're going to take the roll, and I cut it at about 4 inches, 4 1/4.
Okay.
Right? That gives us roughly 3 even sections. And then I don't need to measure the next one. I just flop that one over and give it another cut. And then you have 3 even sections. What we're going to do now is I'm going to cover everything. I cover it like so. So I cover the 2 rolls like that separate, and then I unfold this one. And you just want to get to the middle.
Right on, yeah.
Right? And I just lay it down, and I keep it covered until I'm ready for it.
Right on, okay.
Right? And then as I use it, I literally just unfold it, and you're going to want to take 2 pieces of phyllo for each triangle.
I was just about to ask you that, yeah.
If you take more than that, or you take less, well, if you take less, it's only going to be 1, so it won't roll right, it'll fall apart.
Now, John, are you putting a layer of butter between both, or are you just putting a grease on top?
We're just going to basically take to stick it together. We're going to put a little bit on the corner to stick it together. I'm going to show you how to do that. But also one thing you're going to want to do is we have butter melted here that Yves melted for us. It's about 1/4 or 1 cup, I think. What you're going to want to do is take your cookie sheet, your cookie pan, and you're going to want to make sure you put butter. If you don't put butter, the phyllo will stick to the bottom. So we're going to take one of this bunches here. We're going to put it just like so, and we're going to make triangles. So we're going to fold this corner over, and then this corner goes to there, and you're just going to fold it over.
And seam side down.
Yep. As you can see too, the phyllo isn't going to be perfect. Don't worry about that. There are going to be holes. There's going to be cuts. Phyllo is very thin, and there's nothing you can do
pass
about.
a couple to me, John, and you and I will both try here.
Don't be scared.
Let's see how rusty I am. And it's really just kind of putting it right there, and then
fold it,
folding it over.
and then you're going to want to put some butter on the.
Just a little bit of butter on the edge.
Yep.
Perfect. Awesome. How'd I do, John?
Good. That looks really good.
If we're doing them just like this, so we've freshly made them, we're going to stick them into an oven. How hot and how long?
So from frozen, 375.
Okay.
Okay. You're going to cover them for 20 minutes, frozen. Take it out, uncover them, put them back in. You don't adjust the temperature. Temperature stays at 375.
Okay. So, John, what's the last step before we toss these in the oven?
Then you're going to want to butter each triangle just like so.
And that's to make sure that these come out nice and flaky.
Right, and they don't dry out. So I only do 3 or 4 at a time, and then I butter the tops, because if you wait until you're done the last one, these are going to dry out so much and crack. Well, there, we're ready to rock and roll.
So we'll put these in the oven, and we'll be back after these short messages. Those look fantastic, my friend. Those look wonderful.
You don't want to brown them too much. The other thing you don't want to do, you don't want to be too worried about is like undercooking. You're going to know when they're cooked. You want to be careful towards the end of the cooking time. The first half time, you don't want to be, you're not too worried about it because everything's just starting to cook. It's at the later stages, you want to be checking it often.
So when you're serving these up, what portion size?
We do singles.
Okay.
We don't have a package. There are we have some customers that live out of town. We have a couple customers from Moncton that come up to Fredericton once in a while, and they'll buy 2 dozen at a time. They'll call us the day before, say, hey, we're coming to Fredericton. Can you, right? And we put them in pizza boxes, or nacho boxes, sorry, and we send them down the road. So,
well, it's fantastic.
Yeah, they love them. They say they can't get them anywhere as good as ours, so we'll go with it.
That's a compliment to you guys. That's fantastic. So, I do want to ask you, small businesses and stuff like that, and especially restaurants, margins are tight. There's definitely challenges. What kind of challenges have you guys faced?
When we opened our restaurant, it was in the middle of COVID, the pandemic,
Yeah, absolutely,
right?
yeah.
A lot of people thought we were crazy, and maybe we were a little bit, but nothing ventured, nothing gained, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And we knew we had a really good following from our market days. So we were excited to bring something that people could get only 2 days a week to now 7 days a week, right?
Well, that's
So,
fantastic.
yeah.
And I mean, you did roll with the times too. Like you said, during COVID, you guys did have meal packs that you were able to hand out. So
Yes.
it's like a build your own, like a taco kit or a donaire kit, which is fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. And as far as the food costs, we've noticed a huge increase in food costs. I would say some stuff has gone up over double what it was just 3 or 4 years ago. Food costs go up, but our menu prices don't go up. So, right?
Well, that's it.
the
And how do you justify that? I know, and it is trying to offer something of value that's affordable for your customers, but at the same time, you don't want to lose your shirt. So
Absolutely.
that's that kind of.
It's a tightrope, right?
It is.
Right?
On that as well, being a small business and stuff like that, I know it's always hard. How is it challenging to find staff?
We're very fortunate. We have fantastic staff. We have, I think, 12 to 16 employees roughly. Like, we have full-time employees at the restaurant and part-time. Plus we have employees that work for us on the food truck.
So they're seasonal.
Some of them are seasonal, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have some students, some high school students, and some people that are not in school anymore working for us. But our staff is awesome. The staff we have right now, I couldn't ask for better staff.
It's like a family, right?
It is 100%. Like I say to my staff, we're not the McDonald's of the world. So if we have an upset customer, or the customer gets something that they didn't order, if we don't act on it properly, right, and look after our customer, well, they may not come back to our restaurant, right? And we don't have thousands or millions of people coming to our doors every day, right? So it's important for us to look after our customer, number one, and to look after our staff. Open kitchen was important to me too. Like, when you come into our restaurant, you can see pretty much 3/4 of my kitchen. You can see the whole line. You can see us cooking your food. Like, you can literally stand there and watch everything, and that's important to us as well, right? So having a clean kitchen, doing things properly, food preparation, putting food away properly, putting it in the right containers, dating things is important, right?
Absolutely. And again, like when I go into your storefront, that's another thing I really enjoy about your restaurant, is that you can stand there and you can watch your order get started from start to finish.
Yeah.
And it's great. So these are done. They smell wonderful. So
Awesome.
Well, let's get to it. Let's try one.
I'm gonna get you to definitely try one for sure.
Is there a side that goes with this, or you eat them just like this?
No dipping sauce traditional. I mean, you can definitely dip it in tzatziki. Everything goes good with tzatziki.
Absolutely, yeah.
Even a bag of chips.
Yeah.
But no, eat it just like that. The taste is wonderful.
Well, you know what, John? Thank you so much for sharing this recipe with us today, and being a vibrant part of Fredericton. I mean, everyone knows about you. When I told people that you were coming on, they were super excited to know more about Street Greek. So thanks a lot today for sharing your time with us. I know that you're a busy guy, so
That's okay.
eking out a minute to get you to come on is fantastic.
Absolutely, I
And I'm going to
appreciate
try
it.
this, and it's that's perfect. Thank you so much, John.
The butter tastes good, doesn't it?
Well, it's not just the butter; it's the spinach. It's that you're right.
Absolutely.
That ricotta just adds that nice smoothness
It
to
does. Yeah, yeah. Well, again, thank you, Yves, for having us on the show, and hopefully this won't be the last.
No, absolutely not.
Looking forward to it.
Right on. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.